video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
You know, I've already mentioned before we all took a piss break or whatever, what would seem like the worst. I see Chris in the background. Oh, he got
couple more cold beers, man.
Is that the fuck? What the fuck is? Could you show it real quick? Because it was blurry in the background, Chris. Oh yeah, okay.
I thought I should break this out for you.
Yeah, you haven't had it. It's about okay because I brought over. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Ooh.
Did y'all like my little dance?
It had rhythm.
You kind of look like Trump. You were doing that. You were doing this.
Oh, don't give the fucking YMCA shit.
Oh man, you got.
Chris has got better rhythm than.
I got to do more fist pumps.
There you go.
So you left this here, Scott. Nug Wizard.
Now you got to read what says kind of on the bottom of it there, of the can. What is it? Something about
Bottom?
I'm sorry, not the bottom, but the front of the face of it. So I think I got one out in the front fridge. I got 3 refrigerators with beer in them.
5 nugs to rule them all. Is that what we're talking about?
That's funny.
Let me see. What the fuck you drinking?
Nug Wizard is a magical brew featuring 5 hop alchemy of experimental varieties that rain down notes of citrus and stone fruit. Is that what you're talking about?
Nice.
Kind of at the bottom of the can. Not
It
the
looks like
bottom.
Gandalf on the front.
Right.
Is he riding a horse?
Was it inspirational beer or something like? I don't know.
What did you put in my fridge? What is this?
You're about to find out.
I have some out in my other fridge. Speaking of friendship, the fridge that's to my physical right. This was Chris's old fridge and his old man cave. Sometimes you would see in the background.
Sounds like a true friend to me.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of friendship, this is what friends do to friends, good friends. I've made it clear. I love my Heineken lights. I like Heineken silver and all that. But
I love Heineken with its pretzels. Oh.
But thanks to Chris, I've gotten addicted to this IPA thing. And it's almost like Chris and I are always trying to find, and I think we try to find something local, but you just can't help but find something. It's always the artwork on the can. We both had this before.
If they got good artwork, you got to at least give it a try.
Yeah.
I mean, if it says like melt your face off 3000, it's like, holy shit, I got to see what that's about.
Chris came across, we have fun with the War Pig stuff.
Oh,
and I know how, do you need some more, Chris?
No, I got 4.
I'll keep my.
Tell me a little bit about it, Scott or Chris, one or the other. Tell me a little bit about War Pig.
Go ahead, Chris.
Actually, you turned me on to that one, but that one is just phenomenal, man. It's just like, it's like sunshine in a glass. I mean, it's got some citrus hops going on. It's that beer is amazing, man.
It's out of Muncie or Indiana, our neighbors. Mm-hmm. And every time they stock it up at a Myers grocery store, Chris will go to the closest Myers and just take them right off the shelf.
Really?
Yeah, I usually buy 4 or 6 at a time.
So I guess that is a local Ohio grocery store?
Myers, it's like a Midwest grocery store. They're in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much more. I mean, hell, here lately we're getting into the whole convenience stores. In other words, they're putting Wawa's is a big convenience store in like Pennsylvania, New Jersey. They're going to be putting them in like Cincinnati. And we're getting the big down south in Texas. Maybe you have them there in Oklahoma, Andrew. Buc-ee's.
Oh yeah, those are huge in Texas for sure. The biggest Buc-ee's is right down just south of me.
They're putting a Buc-ee's right here in the city I live in.
Well, you guys will enjoy it. Yeah. I mean, hell, you can get anything from there. It's a little pricey, but you can get anything there, from barbecue to wedding cake to candy to beef jerky to, I mean, anything.
From what I've heard, this asshole that I've talked about in this podcast, the negative aspect of friendship, if he actually wanted to have a job and stay there longer than a year before the COVID brain thing affects him again, I heard that the starting pay for the managers there are like extremely high.
Wow.
Yeah, I hear the pay for that is incredible. But he'll work there for a year, get tired of it, say, I got COVID again.
Wow.
What is okay, I'm not even gonna ask.
It's bullshit is what it is.
Why does he keep I'm gonna get into trouble here.
No, you're not going to. Trust me, you're not. That's why this is basically a bond friendship.
It's fucking done. It's done. Stop. COVID's done. It was a fucking political ploy. It was this, that, and the other.
Please, fuck yeah, it was.
Man, let's stop it.
They've taken advantage of people who have issues with their lungs. If you have that poor lung capacity, you're going to have issues with it because it was basically something that's been an issue with people's lungs.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I will tell you guys, not to get too personal, but I mean, just a week or so ago, I took my daughter to a real estate event, and boy, I woke up the next morning. I probably had 5 or 6 beers, not that big of a deal, but I woke up and boy, howdy, I felt terrible. It wasn't COVID, but it was just one of those things that it was like an upper respiratory infection. And I hadn't been sick in probably, 15, 16, 17 years. And boy, howdy. I mean, it took me about a week and a half to get over it. It wasn't COVID, but it was just an upper respiratory where you were just coughing up, you know how sometimes where you get all clogged up and you smell your snot.
Oh God.
All that nonsense.
I've had sinus infections. I understand. I'm not trying to make it. Yeah, I get it.
And I'm not,
but no. I mean, it sounds like he's not your friend, but it just sounds like your acquaintance there. He's making excuses.
Exactly. He's just taking advantage of the system.
Yeah. I'm not trying to discount COVID. I mean, I know it's out there, whatever. It's
a cold and flu all in one.
Yeah, it's the flu.
Right.
It's the flu. It's out there. I understand that. And I'm sympathetic to any hardships that anyone had over it, but let's move on. You know what I mean?
Let's move on.
Exactly.
It's set us back far enough.
It's kind of like our last podcast where we need to move on from one president to the other because, he's got COVID again and he's 90,000 years old. Sorry.
He's got something else going on.
What?
So, Jake, I got to ask, man. I got to get you involved here just because that's who I am.
Okay. Shoot.
Tell me if you had to pick one horror film, just one.
Okay.
Goddamn horror movies.
What would it be? It's your favorite of all time.
You don't have to say the H word.
Yeah, you don't. Pressure.
Okay, this movie got me started. Now there's some controversy behind it, and I don't support the director or what he did, but I was a kid when this movie came out, and it's just one of those movies that I just love. Clown House. Okay.
Clown House. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put that in my phone real quick.
Well, okay.
Because I want to watch it.
Jake, what's it about? It's a house full of clowns.
Okay. 3 brothers, they're left home alone for the night, and one brother, he's the youngest. He has a terrible fear of clowns. He has chlorophobia, right? And they go to the circus, and then these 3 mental patients escape, and they kill the 3 circus clowns that were there at the circus, and they assume their identities, and follow the three brothers back, and then hijinks ensue.
Well, very cool. I looked it up, and just to come to find out, it was the same year I met my wife, and it was released July 20th, So my goodness, today is what, the 20? Let's see, today. Goodness gracious,
It's the
is
20th.
the 20th. Today's the 20th. So check it out. It is. Look at this. It was released July 20th, 1990.
Huh.
So it's going on 35 years today,
Oh my god!
which is very cool. And it was at the Sundance Film Festival.
Didn't even plan
So how
that.
cool is that?
That is
Shit, we're
cool.
promoting this movie. I'll be damned.
Yeah.
Huh.
So very cool that you mentioned that movie because it's 35 years old today. How cool is that?
Damn.
The budget on it was $200,000, and like I said, I just mentioned, it was released at the Sundance Film Festival, and it won the Grand Jury Prize in dramatic category. The Rise to Clown House were picked by Vision International and Triumph Releasing Corporation. Very cool.
Speaking
So it
of
was an MGM movie.
speaking of
Yeah.
Sundance, Jake, have you sat down to watch Pulp Fiction yet?
I'm trying to find a copy of it, but no, I have not.
I'm teasing Jake about he's just gotten into Quentin Tarantino.
I want to though. Damn.
Oh my goodness, Jake!
I know.
That's a great movie. Great
He
movie.
had an opportunity to see Reservoir Dogs not too long ago.
That was bad.
Did you see it?
Yes.
You see it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How about True Romance? Have you ever seen that, Jake?
Oh my god, that's
no.
my shit right there.
But I know it has Christian
Oh.
Slater and Patricia Arquette in it, right?
That's right.
Okay,
All right.
I need to. I need to watch
Andrew,
it.
explain why you
Okay.
asked, please.
Say that again. I'm sorry, Scott.
Andrew, explain why you asked him that.
Why I asked him about True Romance?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in my opinion, I will say that was one of my that is the very first Quentin Tarantino movie ever.
Because he wrote the.
And
Yep.
right, and the cast is so huge. I mean, it's got from James Gandolfini to Val Kilmer to Patricia Arquette to Christian Slater to Dennis Hopper. Keep going, help me out.
Nice.
It's got
Dude, Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken. I mean,
That
it's an
Sicilian
amazing.
scene, man.
Yes, the Sicilian scene. Eggplant. It's such a good movie.
And
So, go ahead, Scott. Go
yeah,
ahead.
to basically, because I get excited about Quentin Tarantino, what Andrew's
Yes.
talking about with True Romance, Quentin Tarantino wrote that movie. He wrote
Yes.
that and he sold that. And of course, a part that he got on the Golden Girls, he took that money, collaborated together, therefore Reservoir Dogs.
That's right.
Ooh.
That's right. So, and in my opinion, it has one of the best ending shootout scenes in cinema history.
Which
So
he
you've
did.
got to check it
It's
out.
up there.
Which
True Romance.
It's up
which
there.
and that Reservoir Dogs, which Jake, you have seen, you've watched, so we could say it here. The ending of the movie, the way True Romance, there was Quentin Tarantino's brain was on the same concept.
Okay.
He talked about it, so
Cool.
Yeah, I would highly recommend. You are a horror rabbit hole kind of guy, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I would listen to Scott on this. I would highly recommend I mean, he doesn't have many movies, 10 to 13 movies?
9. He has
Nine,
9.
and
yeah.
he's
He was
got
gonna do
9,
10
and so
walk away, right?
10 and walk away. So, yeah, I knew he was going to do one more, and then he's done. So I would highly recommend looking up that catalog and checking it out.
Quentin Tarantino, not even arguably, we of our lifespan right now, what you're Jake, I shit you. This is not just me. This is not just us. Quentin Tarantino is highly stated as the best director, producer, writer of our time. And
Right.
there are some great ones out there. Don't get me wrong. I love him, but Quentin, he's
You know
up
who
there.
I'd put him with, honestly, and I for me, I feel like it's kind of a pedestal is Stanley Kubrick.
Oh God, yeah, yes. Love the man to death.
So
The
I
man,
would highly recommend.
yeah. Stanley
All right.
Kubrick. He's like a fucking. He's what would you call it?
He's diabolical. He's.
I'm
fucking-
looking at the Shining poster right now too.
Great.
God
Um,
rest Shelley Duvall, obviously.
Oh, rest
Yeah.
in peace.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did see that.
I'll be the judge of that, Judy.
That's right.
No, I think I don't want to be responsible of starting it and ending it. But does anybody else have anything that they would like to add about this subject matter? Because even though we talked about it in heart, but this window is about friendship of what we're doing here.
This is the beauty of the man cave. It's all encompassing.
I will, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Jake,
take it
go
away,
ahead,
bud.
please.
Okay, I'm the youngest one here. Obviously, I'm 36, but I
old fart.
Right.
Hey, that's how you open your monologue here? Damn, man. I'm just messing with you, Jake. Go ahead.
No, I don't. I have friends my own age, kids I went to school with, but I was a year older than everyone. But I've always gotten along better with people older than myself. I think it's a maturity level thing. I don't know, but I appreciate you all hanging out, and I consider you, Andrew, I just met you, but I consider you a friend, and Scott and Chris, you guys are my friends, obviously. So thank you for that.
For sure.
How about that?
Hey,
that's what I want to say.
You're the only one here that's wearing Meet Us in the Man, cave.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm wearing the sexy shirt.
I don't care if you wear that shirt or not, Jake. We've always considered you a friend here. You are always welcome.
That doesn't look good with
you. Hey, nice dad hat, or is that the trucker hat?
Chris gave me this. It's a dad hat.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
The lighting I learned from Chris, and I can't. It wouldn't look right. We can't. You know what I mean? It just, you got to have a left and a right, and I'm a lefty, left-hander.
A right-handed guitar player. So you're a lefty, Scott.
Yeah, I'm left-handed. I'm left-handed. I was born left-handed. I use the right side of my brain. You guys don't.
That's right. Ambidextrous, it sounds like.
And I got to do it. I mean, because I got it set where I'm not always talking about Van Halen, but I'm looking at him right now. The main reason why I'm playing right-handed, and it's been a battle ever since I was at really, I want to say early teens. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Jimi Hendrix. We all know Jimi Hendrix is, right?
Yeah.
Left-handed guitars. Plays that guitar left-handed. Kurt Cobain. I think people who've been listening, watching long enough, you guys know I love Nirvana. I love Kurt Cobain. We know Andrew does. Hell, everybody here does. Lefty right there.
As we've discussed in past podcasts, I got the opportunity and lucky enough to meet him.
Every head shall bow.
That was kind of cool.
But as a kid who worshipped Edward Van Halen, being a lefty, I could never see myself holding
the guitar that way.
I could not. So I play right-handed. And I'm not the only one that does that. Michael
Anthony,
Anthony.
I would figure being left-handed, though, Scott, I would figure playing left-handed, because I play. Yeah. And I would figure playing left-handed, you would have an advantage. Because you're more comfortable playing the strings and the scales with your left hand and being able to strum with the right hand. So does that help at all? I'm just curious.
That's a very good point, because I've asked that question too. And I'm going to bring it into a cars aspect of it. You will appreciate this. Mr. Webb.
Yes, sir. Left hand versus right hand driving?
No, I don't. How do you feel about when it comes to learning how to drive a car when it comes to a transmission?
Manual only.
Okay.
Me too. And I will tell you that, honestly, if I was to go over to the UK, I think that would be a huge adjustment for me. And I bet Chris would probably say the same thing, because being able to shift with your left hand just seems awkward.
I am behind you 100% right there.
Yeah, it just seems awkward to be able to do that with your left.
That would cause car accidents. 100%.
Yeah, I just would be different. Now, the pedals stay the same if you're right on the right-hand side of the seat in the UK, but you're shifting with your left hand and driving with your right. It just seems so awkward to me.
These are interesting values and points and all that. I love how you guys went to that, and I respect the shit out of it, and that's cool, because
we both drive standards, so we relate that way.
What I want to kind of get to on that is you learn how to drive a manual. And one of the benefits of that, guys, if you learn how to drive a manual other than, And Jake, I don't mean to be disrespectful because I've asked you privately before about driving. You know, driving's not your thing, but you love cars. I know that you have your cars. You like, we've asked you top 5, and you've got some sexy cars that you like. But Chris, and I know Andrew, you love your cars too, but you know, Chris, I always think this is his specialty, especially when we see the photos of what he did with his Honda Type R.
Sure.
But you know, driving manual and all that. So if you feel, Chris, if you could drive a stick shift, a manual, could you drive an automatic?
100%.
So
that goes without. Yeah, that's the past.
Easy peasy.
I mean, several cars that I've owned are only offered in manual. Although I have had automatics, of course, I've had work trucks, this, that, and the other. I mean, of course. But it's kind of like, man, how do I say this without offending people?
Did you hear that Eric Clapton there?
I'm alive.
Nice.
I'm alive when I'm driving like the S2000 or the Type R or the any other car that the Miata. I've had several cars that are manual. I'm alive. I feel connected to the car. I'm in the moment in that car.
Well, and like you said, Chris, you own the RPMs when you're driving those.
Yeah, 100%. You are in control in that car. When I drive an automatic, it's almost kind of I mean it kind of puts you to sleep. It's lazy. It feels
they're great for a work vehicle.
Yeah, it's great for getting in like the autopilot mode. But when I want to feel engaged with the road or something like that, it's manual or nothing.
That's right. All these new cars are CVT transmissions, so really there's it just kind of takes the feel away from it. So I would agree with Chris on that, 100%.
So basically what I'm trying to get at, guys, we got to learn whether you're doing it one way or another. When it comes to playing an instrument that you have a passion for, if you want to do it, you're going to have to learn to play it with your left hand or your right hand. And it's your brain. If you want to play it like Jimi Hendrix done, because like I said, I'll use a left-hander as an example. If that guitar, if you want to play it this way, then by all means, you play it that way. You play it how your brain tells you to do it. It maybe sometimes you're taught how to drive a stick shift because you're going to have the benefits, because if you could drive that manual transmission, you can drive that automatic. My brain is Eddie Van Halen plays it right-handed. Therefore, I'm going to play it right-handed. And that's how my brain works.
Well, since you're plugging music, Scott, I will say, I have to say the new Pearl Jam album.
Yes, that is good.
It's been pretty good. I think it's their best album since No Code.
I'm going to put my honest perspective.
Oh, shit.
Fuck yeah. I was playing the guitar. I played a little bit of
Andrew, keep going.
Well, I mean, I was just saying that the new Pearl Jam album since No Code, I think it's been their best album since. I've really thoroughly enjoyed this new album that's come out, and we've got some new music as far as some of my favorite music that's going to be coming out here in the next few months. It's not for everybody, but that's okay.
I want to say the first 4 songs on that album is so Pearl Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like early Pearl Jam. It's the perfect blend of Pearl Jam.
Right. And the cool thing is they've got a track on there called Waiting for Stevie. The cool story behind that is they were literally waiting for Stevie Wonder. And they wrote that song while they were waiting for him to get there. Wow. So you can find that on YouTube. All you got to do is just go to Pearl Jam on Howard Stern, and you can watch it. It's just that's where I learned that from.
That's fucking awesome.
Eddie's fucking
yeah,
and so much of Stevie Wonder. Holy
and Howard Stern even made the comment. He goes, weren't you pissed that you had to wait like 6 or 7 hours on Stevie Wonder? And he's like, Eddie Vedder was like, hell no. He's like, it's Stevie Wonder. So what's kind of cool is that Stevie Wonder is on that new album, and I'm a huge music fan, and they waited for him to get there.
That's cool, man. Damn.
So definitely if you're not a Pearl Jam fan or you haven't listened to it, I think it's probably one of their best albums since No Code. And so
I have that.
I would highly recommend it.
What is it called? I have it on iTunes. I mean, whatever. PJ 20. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I love that documentary.
It's a great documentary.
Yeah.
And what was the gentleman's name that made that documentary?
It is the gentleman that was also married to he directed Austin Powers.
Right, but he's also, there's a movie about him too.
He was married to Ann Wilson.
Right. And he was married, but there's a movie about how he got into the business and so forth and so on. I can't remember. It's been so many years ago. But it's a cool story. Very cool story.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
So, Jake, what kind of music do you like, man?
I like everything.
I'm playing music as we talk about music. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jake. I'm listening.
Anything from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And
so if you had to pick, let's hear them. What's your favorite pick from the 50s?
Ricky Nelson. He was
okay.
Awesome.
He was great, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
How about the 60s?
Jeez. Well, since you brought him up, probably Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder was great. We had a lot of people in the 60s, like the Beatles?
Yes.
Elvis. How about the 70s? Who was your pick in the 70s?
I go to parties sometimes until 4.
Talking Heads are great. I guess they're 70s, but I always thought they were 80s.
I just want to throw some, since we brought up, we were in the 60s, I want to throw some Sun House in there, some love.
Ooh.
Sun House. That's the name of the band?
And the man.
No, the name of the band.
That 185. I lost my license. Now I can't drive.
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
Sorry. I'm doing music. I'm doing Joe Walsh. God, I love Joe Walsh.
Yeah. God. So how about the 80s, Jake?
Oh, geez. So many. Michael Jackson, Prince,
Well, of course.
Oh, yeah.
You had
90s?
You had Thriller really, really high up there, didn't you, Jake?
Yes, I did. Oh,
yes.
90s.
Well, you know what's funny, Jake, is
buddy. Thriller's great.
You look back at me when I was a kid in the 80s, and I had the glove, I had the jacket, I had the shoes, I was moonwalking, I was taking break dancing classes. It was a sight for a white boy.
Same here, buddy. Same here.
Yep.
Certain guy played instrument, a song on the beat it.
There you go, Mr. Van Halen. Yes, he did, 100%. I remember. I've seen that interview, which is a cool interview. It really is.
I love it how he does the obviously the guitar solo of that, and I think he's talking with Pierce Morgan, and he has LL Cool J sitting next to him. He says, yeah, and of course he talks about how he rearranged it. And he says, yeah, I went ahead and rearranged the song for you, Michael. I don't know. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, he rearranged technically what we hear. And Michael's like, I like your high fast stuff. So he didn't care. And he just awesome. This isn't good enough. After he did the solo, he's like, he changed the whole thing. Right, I like your high. Yeah. Yep.
Well, since I'm a 90s kind of kid, Jake, who's your 90s pick?
Oh, so many.
It's grunge.
Tread carefully.
Yeah, tread carefully. This is my heart right here.
I asked Dale to teach me some from a band that starts with N, and he says you're not ready yet, but there is one song I'll teach you soon.
9 Inch.
All right, it's not grunge, but think more boy band.
Nirvana.
Hanson.
Hanson's your favorite?
Well, not my favorite. Just one that I
Damn, he got real close. He's got so close to that camera.
Okay. There's so many, you know. I can't. Blues Traveler.
Blues Traveler's a great one. Very good call there. Super talented vocal, super talented guitar player. Absolutely.
And the bassist too. Yes, they actually remind me a lot of Steely Dan. They really do.
Very cool. Very cool. Out of left field.
Yeah,
yes,
that's one you pulled out of the hat. You know what's funny is I had an issue with my iPhone the other day where my album artwork was all completely wrong. So if I was listening to, say, Alice in Chains, it would show Dr. Dre's album artwork. I'm like, I got to get this fixed. So I spent like 4 or 5 hours on the phone with Apple. We got it fixed finally.
I was going to say, if Steve Jobs was alive today, oh my God.
I know. It was ridiculous. But I got it fixed, and yeah, I was glad to get it fixed.
Speaking of Jake, we're attacking the hell out of you here on the 90s. And we got to go to the 90s. We got to go to the late 90s. Because I know I've been favoring, and I don't mean to. I don't want to have any favoritism on Friendship because I really love and appreciate all you guys. But as I was doing this podcast here with Christopher Webb and all that, we started talking about music back when we first started. I learned about a gentleman that was very important to Chris that kind of started in the late 90s, correct? When it comes to music.
1998.
Got to bring up.
Took him about 20 years to get a record deal.
Yeah, I've been bringing this guy up too much, and it's important for me to bring up Chris's importance. And it's a value. It's a value that I appreciate. We're talking about rock and roll, grunge, and all that, but it's very important that Chris shares a little bit of DMX here.
Well, I mean, there's nothing really new that I can throw into the hat there, but everybody knows the man's work. If I could go into more new territories, there's like 5 albums right now that are kind of on my radar that just recently released. You guys know the Red Clay Strays?
I don't.
Red Clay Strays.
This is his specialty, by the way.
Is it spelled Strays?
Yeah. Red Clay Strays. That guy's vocals, man, is fucking unreal. He's got some shit going on.
So is it what? Tell me a little bit, Chris. Is it what type of music is it?
This is Deep South.
Okay. Well, I live in the South.
Deep South. This is like
You live in the middle,
Louisiana?
man.
What's that?
He lives
Like
in the
Louisiana,
middle.
South Texas type, or like Georgia?
Oh, I'd put him in Georgia easily.
Okay.
Easily. He's got they have one previous album, but this new one, he's got one song particularly called Wanna Be Loved. I'm gonna send you that one. And man,
For sure. I want to check it out.
Just within the last month or so, Zach Bryan released his new one. It's called The Great American Bar Scene.
I wanted to get that album for you, but you wouldn't let me do it.
It's fucking beautiful.
Was
Fucking
it Target?
great album. Just to show you how all over the place I am, Eminem released his newest, which is called The Death of Slim Shady, the coup de grace.
Okay.
Just to get into
Wasn't aware of that.
Man, he's got one song with JID on it. Is fucking insane. If you guys
What the fuck?
are into rap at all, take that a little listen.
Take that
there.
out. I got you.
Co Wetzel's another country singer. He's got a great album coming out there. And then this guy kind of surprised me, but his name is Clay Pigeon.
Clay Pigeon.
I heard that recently.
Clay
that name.
Pigeon. His name is, or his album name. This album that I've been listening to nonstop is called The Aching Taste of Blue.
Wow.
But he's kind of indie rock. He's got
Shoot me that stuff if you would. I'll check that stuff out, Chris. I definitely will.
absolutely.
I got to ask you guys a question because May 31st, kind of one of my dreams came true when it comes to music. Have you guys ever heard of the Toadies?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course.
Look at here.
Oh, dude, I saw that. Yes.
Holy shit.
That's me and Todd Vaden, the lead singer of the Toadies. Me
Okay,
and my buddy
yeah.
Eric.
I'm visualing
Yeah.
their first. Wow. See,
Yeah,
I,
Rubberneck.
Man.
real quick as we're on this, because this is a vibe of friendship here. I'm guilty when it comes to social media. This is how I catch up, is right, like kind of real connection. So if you
Yeah.
posted it, I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries. It's just, it was a cool experience. So listen, there's a video, and we're obviously all music lovers. And so there's a video on YouTube that basically shows. Thanks, I got that, Chris. Thank you so much. There's a video on YouTube about them making Rubbernecker. You can go on there and type in the Toadies and watch it. It's about 30 or 45 minutes. They literally leave from Fort Worth, Texas, and go to like somewhere in like Northwest California to record Rubbernecker. And it's such a cool album because you get his vocals as a young kid and everything. And so if you ever want to check that out, it's worth a 30 or 45 minutes check out if you're bored and want to watch something. It goes over that whole album. So
that is very.
I just thought I would include that and let you guys know about that. It's pretty cool. I got to meet him. I got to hang out with him, all due to my good friend EB is who I call him. My friend Eric Brown over here. He works for the United States Postal Service, and he works with his son-in-law is Eric Brown's coworker. So the father-in-law is Eric Brown's coworker, and that's how he was able to get us back into their area the night of the concert on May 31st, and we got to hang out there with them and the whole band, and it was really a cool experience. So there's me and the bass player, which was a cool experience as well.
That's pretty.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And speaking of, I just put a post on my Instagram, and I'll show you this real quick. Me and my girls and my twin daughters, we got to go see Silver Sun Pickups back in 2020, right before COVID hit. And
yeah, we talked about that, man.
yes, and so I wanted to show you guys this. The opening band was called Elijah and the Delusionals, and so they just released this yesterday with Silver Sun Pickups, right? And so this song was released yesterday. I put it on my Instagram, and then look here. Oops, sorry. There. Oh my goodness. Let me just swipe it. There we go. There's my daughters and the lead singer of Elijah and the Delusionals.
Oh,
so
cool.
That was really cool. So if you want to check some new music out, like I said, the song's called Lately, and it's got Silver Sun Pickups and Elijah and the Delusionals. So it was a pretty cool. Music's my life. So
I dig Silver Sun,
yep.
Man. I love.
Yeah, they're really cool. Really cool band. So
fuck yeah.
Scott, what you playing there? A little Green Day?
What you gonna give us?
Man, that sucked. I was doing some Rush.
Rush is good.
Fly by Night.
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
In other words, it's like saying, "Hey, he's doing it right."
Hey, it doesn't matter that you're 30, whatever. You can still be 60 something at heart.
Hell
That's
yes.
okay.
Good.
There you go.
That's called an old soul, brother.
That's right.
It also says I'm doing something right. Thank you, Dale, and thank you, Jay.
There you go.
No problem.
I bet your bladder is about to explode. Well, Chris and Scott, they'd like to help you out. How's that, you say? By simply subscribe, liking, and sharing to Meet Us in the Man Cave, where we can finally achieve those YouTube ads, and you can finally go take a piss.
See that 5150 back there? I want to see that thing.
This guy back here?
Lit up back there. I want to see. Come on, give us something. I gotta see what all those lessons are doing. Come on.
Oh, I am. You gotta see my instructor, Jake. Oh, shit. That guy is awesome.
Are you learning any scales, Scott?
Right. Scales, though, I am basically with scales right now. Technically not. This is what Dale's doing for me. It's an exercise that's close to scales.
Gotcha. Don't make me break my guitar out.
We're gonna start our own band, fellas.
You could understand.
I mean, hell, we might need to put a band together.
You understand completely, guys. Andrew, with you, I'm doing this. This is how it should be for anybody. It depends on your situation. I'm doing this for myself. I told this to my mom and Brian. My mom actually says, "I've been waiting for you to do this for so many years. It's about fucking time."
Mm-hmm.
I told her, I said, no, I'm doing this for myself. I'm not doing this because she's no, just do it for yourself and keep it that way. And
That's right. That's the way it should be.
Everything for yourself.
Well, and occasionally, not to interrupt you, Scott, while you're getting ready there on your. Okay, go for it.
What?
Heard
Well, I
how
was just
loud
going to
that
say,
thing is.
sometimes kids ask me to teach them a little bit, and realistically, once you learn the chords, then strumming is what you need to practice, because once you learn the chords, then you're good.
Now I won't be able to do it now because you guys are, in other words, this is what he advised me to do. It's just an exercise. When he said scales,
Yep.
See, I won't do it. I'm crashing. Basically, I'll try to slow it down. And then he's like, that's so fucking loud right now, even with this song. But it's basically, it's like a spider. And then, but he says, basically, he was just teaching me different, like parts of songs, like, I'm fucking it up, but just parts. And now it's like today it was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
It sounded like Nirvana.
It's actually Lick It Up. I don't have it, obviously. Maybe I should take the 2 channel off.
Oh, that almost sounded like Man Who Sold the World. That's where I was thinking.
Oh, nice.
Wait a minute. Lick it up. It's like just lick it up. Oh, God damn it. And then it's just that simple. If you're listening to it, like, and it's just a G chord. And then back to Paul basically going, pick it up. And that's, wait a minute. It's only right now. It's just, and I'm just, like when you guys were talking, all I was doing was something that, because I love Rush, it was just like, a little bit.
Hey, let me just state to you about Rush. Rush is super talented.
You slap at the bass.
Those guys,
You slap at the bass.
yeah, those guys are super talented.
Slap the bass.
Slapping the bass big time.
But it's so funny, and I won't do it now because you guys are there. But I had the toughest time just going, wait a minute. Yeah. I had the toughest time doing that for the longest time. I still fucked it up. Or, of course, what was it?
It's just practice.
But,
yeah, no, I'm with you. I can't pick.
Distortion.
I can't pick. I can't finger style, but I can strum.
I've got the volume on 1 over here.
I believe it.
Okay. Now, this only has, technically, both the pickups work on this. Doesn't matter. I've got the volume. Let's see. I put it on 2. On the guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Educate me. Is that a Stratocaster?
Let's see. Yes, Edward. It was a I think the first one was a 1961 Stratocaster.
Yep.
And then, of course, people were so confused in the beginning because, as we all know, this is as the fans call it, the Frankenstein. Others call it the Frankenstrat or the Frankie. People, they really fucked it up is because he put here on the headstock Gibson, a Gibson sticker. Well, people that know Gibson well enough, they
know better.
Yeah, that's not, Gibson's never made a head like that. Edward put a Gibson sticker on there just to fuck people up. But he put Gibson humbuckers. Edward was always, he was taking what was originally a black guitar.
I still dig that one so much.
And then he painted it white, and he was always just adding different pickups and different from Gibson to Stratocaster.
I'm going to call that the Panda.
And then, of course, you have the Gibson Shark and all this. I mean, there's other guitars that he was using. Like this right here, the Floyd Rhodes, that wasn't even on that'll be a $1,500 guitar that I'll purchase, where it has like the original. I go on and on, but yeah, it's basically, as we know the movie from Frankenstein, different parts from different bodies. Hence, that's what this was all about. For an example, when we were getting to the Floyd Rose, goddamn strap, sponsoring the EVH leather strap. This right here, which is what some people were confused about. These right here are fine tuners, right here.
Oh yeah,
Those are from violins. This is where Edward basically was the innovator.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, wait a minute, they have fine tuners on violins. He was getting frustrated because every time Edward was doing a lot of dive bombs and shit with the.
Well, and also, Scott, if you'll look at me, he was also using his two fingers when he was using the frets.
Yeah.
And he would actually make them sound like pianos. And he was able to play that. And people were like, how in the hell did you figure that out?
Yeah.
And he's like, he just figured it out on his own. And they were like, how is he making this guitar sound like this? And people were just like flabbergasted that he was able to come up with his playing style like he did. So I have to give him props.
He was playing, like a piano. And
right
when he was taking the Floyd Royce, where it was always going out of tune, because right up here is locking nuts, and it just had a regular nut. So basically, Edward was like, well, if we put locking nuts up here, you can't tune it anymore because it's in tune. So he came up with the idea, well, violins have these fine tuners down at there. So Edward came up with the idea of putting tuners down here. So once you can tune it, he basically, and then technically this right here with the Floyd Rose with the fine tuners.
It's just easier to tune.
Yeah, Edward came up with that. He's actually the inventor of that. So Edward has always been known as the guitar hero, the legend, the musician, the Beethoven, but he was also an inventor as well. The guitar was basically, you have a lot of guitars that have a floating Floyd Royce where the body of it goes either forward or back, like a teeter-totter. You push or pull. Edward couldn't stand that. And with one of his, I think it was a Kramer, I forget which body it was, he put a quarter right there to help block the Floyd Royce from going back. Because he didn't.
Well, and that's what would help him also keep it in tune easier.
Well, yeah, think of a teeter-totter that locked it. And this was a guy who didn't know anything about this or that. In fact, he even said during an interview, he almost killed himself by soldering some of the parts in here.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
And of course, in the back, you have the springs. There's usually a plate right there. And because of him, and you see a lot of other guitar heroes, he said, I hate that fucking plate back there because it always gets in the way when he has to adjust the springs.
Right.
So, of course,
so he just left it off.
Yeah, and I won't have them on there either. I get it, because if you have to adjust it, that fucking plate gets in the way. So, I've got a long way to go. So, if I have any regrets in life, I didn't start playing this when I was a kid.
That reminds me of Robin Williams when that guy says, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. And he says, how exciting.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I'm going to find it now that you said that, Chris. Listen, my daughter stole that.
No idea what I'm going to do tomorrow.
How exciting.
No matter what anybody tells you.
But that's my daughter.
That's a world of possibilities right there.
That's right. That's right. So I'm going to play it one more time. That's my daughter.
Okay, I do remember seeing. Was that this last year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. So it's just a cool thing that you guys brought that up, because she used that on her video when she graduated high school. So yeah, very cool that we were able to connect on that. That you said that, because it just brought me back to that moment of remembering that in the Dead Poets Society. Which, matter of fact, I think that's where it came from. And I watched that like last week. So, amazing movie. I miss Robin Williams.
My captain.
Speaking of Robin Williams, as we discussed earlier before we came on tonight, we were going to discuss a little bit of mental health. You know, in just my opinion, if there's anybody out there that's feeling that just reach out. You know, I mean, reach out to someone. Don't do something stupid. You know, reach out to people, because there are people that care. You know, it's a sad thing that people take their lives, and I think that there needs to be more focus on that. That people are held accountable for their actions, as far as, you know, if someone would have just reached out to Robin Williams and talked to him and helped him. He was always so used to making people laugh and making people happy. He felt out of character when he was alone. And so,
You know,
that's why I just feel like that people need to reach out, you know, as far as mental health goes, whether you're a man, woman, whatever, you just need to reach out to people so that you can get that help. Because, you know, how much better would the world be if we had Mrs. Doubtfire 2, or, you know, just anything else Robin Williams would have been able to put out, you know, just because he was such a great human being. And I just don't think he felt it. You know, he just didn't feel like people loved him like they did. It took him taking his life for people to really realize how much they loved that guy.
you
You
can
know,
put
because
that
Robin
into
Williams was such a funny guy.
you can put that into Chester as well. Chester from Lincoln
Yeah,
Park.
Chester Bennington. Well, and don't get me started there, Chris,
I'm
because
just saying, man.
well,
these
and I will
guys-
say I don't think Chester or Chris Cornell killed themselves. I don't.
Hip
You
hop
don't
And it
hooray.
almost goes back. We've had that discussion about Robin Williams. They all three died the same exact way, by hanging themselves on a door. And I feel like that in a way, maybe he didn't kill himself with all, and
Yeah.
everything else that we've talked about tonight with the left. Who's to say they weren't going to expose that child pornography ring thing that was going on, which they were pushing at the moment? And so it may be a conspiracy theory. Don't get me wrong. But
I'm 100% with you. I'm conspiracy theory all the way.
You,
In order for any good conspiracy theory to take traction, it has to be some validity of truth.
true. And so who's to say that didn't take place? You know, I mean, especially after everything that's transpired in the last week.
Yeah.
I walked to the end of this, and from what you were talking about, and being a fan of Robin Williams for so many years, and then towards the end there, what you were saying, God damn it, I've always kind of wondered, slipped on the handrest. I've always somebody, and I respect the fact why. Granted, you're going to hear what you're going to hear, but I've always kind of sometimes wish Billy Crystal had sat down and talked a little bit more about that, because we all know Billy Crystal and Robin Williams was like this.
Oh, okay.
And we haven't heard, and I can respect the reason. Granted, we have them. It depends on the camera, a microphone, and that to happen, as we all know, for us, the world to see it.
Well, it goes back to friendship.
Exactly.
Back to friendship.
Exactly.
And so it may be very hard for him to speak about. And
Just
I get it.
Alex cannot talk. Everybody's
Probably
like, why the
impossible.
fuck is it Alex Van Halen doing anything with Van Halen? Because he was, as he stated last quick, because there's a book that's coming out that I already purchased or pre-ordered. He says, I've been with Edward since day one, because this book is a love letter to his brother, and he sold all of his instruments. He sold, Alex sold everything, every fucking thing that he owned. Alex Van Halen, a legendary drummer for Van Halen.
Right.
And nobody knows anything in the world. And he can't, he won't play anymore because his brother's gone.
It's too close. It's too close to his heart. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, I get it.
Yeah, I do too. I truly do. And selfishly, back to Robin Williams. Selfishly, I would love to this day. I would love to hear Billy Crystal's, if he wanted to, if he could. What is his thoughts on all this? It wouldn't be fair to him to talk about the actual day. How does he feel about it? I mean, Billy could probably share some stuff that would like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I get it. Why he's gone. We don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, and truth be told, you stepped out to use the restroom, and as me and Chris were talking, and Jake was listening to us, I mean, those three gentlemen, Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, and Robin Williams, all died the exact same way.
Yeah.
And Chester died this to the
And it was
year of Chris Cornell's birthday.
And it was all the same related.
Wasn't
atrocities. It was all.
oh, son of a bitch. Oh,
It
shit.
was all child.
In excess.
Yeah.
Michael Hutchinson.
Michael, thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. Michael,
Thank you.
I'm trying to remember what was his cause of death. For some reason, I'm thinking. I
thought it was an OD. I could be wrong. Tell me, Jake.
That I can't.
I know Zach's mom knows it. Well, she was a huge fan of NXS, Michael Hutchinson, and all that. And I just remember, I don't know, just for some reason with this whole, fixation thing, I thought, I don't know. I want to be careful.
But it is kind of strange. All four of us have to agree, at least on that it is strange that they all three died in the same exact way by hanging themselves on a door. And they were all involved with this whole Epstein thing that they were trying to expose this pedophilia thing. Yeah. And it cost them their lives. It's just strange.
And, it's so funny as we go down that rabbit hole, there's a certain woman that was somewhat, and also if you ever got close to her, shit happened.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know where I'm going at here? Her name starts with KUCL. And I honestly feel like if her husband had never met her, we would have gotten more Nirvana music or just more Kurt Cobain music. Oh, I think I kind of gave away what I was talking about.
Publicized, and I will say that it's Courtney Love and Chris Cornell's wife. Period. I mean, it is what it is.
That fuck. I mean, what has she done since she's? I mean, even with the Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, everybody did stuff for her, and now that she
are you talking about Courtney Love?
Excuse.
In so many words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you're talking about Hole, then, right? Not Smashing Pumpkins.
Well, Smashing Pumpkins, of course. What I'm trying to get at is when she was no longer dating. Shit, what the hell's his name from Smashing Pumpkins?
Corgan?
Yes.
Billy Corgan?
Billy Corgan. And of course, Kurt Cobain, who she was married to. And I believe there was another band that could have been. In other words, those guys pretty much, of course, she got rid of one of them. Duh. Right. The other ones got rid of her. And ever since then, Hole no longer existed. And of course, as we all know, the bass player for Hole was, as you could pretty much know the history enough, her and Kurt kind of had seemed to be
even Courtney Love's father, and I know we've discussed this on previous podcasts, I think Courtney Love's father has even admitted that she tried stabbing somebody when she was in high school, killing them. So she's capable.
Yeah.
So it's just strange.